CDMP TV and film presentation from Crazy D, the mind who brings you the Black Ice Chronicles, the Females DVD, and Situations DVD, brings you The Shifter. It's Halloween night at Crazy D's, and a pesky vamp is out for blood. Beware of the shifter.
That's it. You gotta go beat it down, scram, man. Damn.
Why don't you be a doll and find me a place to change? I need a place to change my clothes before I go.
What? Don't try to hold me on the phone.
D, you been holding out on me?
I was just about to stop and help. You know I helped the crackheads, D.
Some people just don't have originality with their outfits.
It's like I hear voices in my head talking to me and shit.
I saw that punk ass Charles Pippen and his cousin leaving here.
I learned the grace pose. Get your camera ready.
We're here, like we said, for trick or treat.
Crazy, what did you see? You seem bothered by something.
You see that shit?
That crazy stuck in there. I don't know what the fuck that was for.
Right. She can't stand that shit.
Well, who's the pet bitch?
Like,
What the fuck was she mean? Oh, I saw her to scratch that poke that bitch eye.
Beware of the shifter. Be at the premiere if you dare.
Brother Muhammad, if you, I see you got the sax. If you can hit it, we just gonna move the mic out the way and just let you go ahead and hit it. We're over here at the West Las Vegas Library Theater as part of the summer program for our youth. Brother Muhammad participated. Let's see what we got. brother participated way back when, and I was here giving back. Brother Muhammad, thank you so much. One of the alumni of the Summer Las Vegas Performing Arts Program. At the helm, one of the folks that you gotta say is putting it down, because while the youth may not know, we know. While we don't know where he goes and what happens, when you have talent that's willing to share and give back to the community, as in the form of the icon that's sitting right here next to me, I'm gonna tell you, this brother meant something to me, and still does, because the images that he created put my life in front of me on TV and on film. I'm not gonna tell you how many films he's been in and how many things he's done. I'm just gonna tell you, he already has a day here in Las Vegas. That's right. We have an Antonio Fargas Day. They may not have other things, but we got Antonio Fargas Day, historically bound in history forever, as part of our Kemet in the Desert series. I know the man's work. Thank you so much for making time to vote with our youth in the Summer Arts Program. Mr. Antonio Fargas, thank you so much. How are you doing, Icon?
And we are back. It's your man, the Turntable Assassin, and I promised you I was going to have, and I said it, that's right, I'm country, we going to have. I have the beautiful, the talented, the gifted. I grew up with this lady. I love her. Can I keep it on? Listen. 100, my first crush. I'm so serious, my first crush. Before Janet, I couldn't have a crush on Janet. She was little Penny. I couldn't crush on Penny, but I crushed on Thelma. But ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful Miss Bernadette Stannis. Hey.
Thank you. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
You know what? I told you, we don't do interviews.
Right.
We just going to have a conversation.
Yes.
What is going on with Bernadette Stannis right now?
The Black Ice Chronicles, Females DVD.
I don't think you realize who the f you talking to.
Written, filmed, and directed by Crazy D.
Look, Crazy D, I want to work with you. So, how long before we start shooting? I don't have all day for it.
You don't have all day.
Selling now.
I see you still got them lips.
This is a reality that's going on right now in the streets. People are being targeted. People are being just the whole 9 yards. In many ways, snatched up, railroaded into a prison industrial complex system, and there you go, becoming the new modern day slave.
Okay, the reason why I asked that question is more as far as the person protecting himself, not outward appearance, because I realize that as human beings, we should be able to dress like we like to dress, right? Because even in the 20s and 30s, 40s and 50s, when the zoot suits were out and the men were dressed in three-piece suits, the police would drive up to the corners, and it would be a scatter mode, still the same, even though they were dressed to the nines, so to speak. Yeah. So it doesn't matter how we're dressed. What I'm saying is, how do we get our youth and our young men to be aware that they're hunted, and thus be aware of surroundings? And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about more for us, not for our outward appearance to someone else.
Yeah, I got you on that, because as you begin to talk about that in terms of not having to be regulated into wearing whatever it is that the society wants us to wear, we should be able to define for ourselves what we want for ourselves. I remember that campaign that was out not too long ago, where the RZA had said something kind of similar, where hey man, people should be dressing differently in order to do this and that, and all of a sudden there was this huge tell RZA this person was wearing a suit campaign that was going on. Of course, you had the Sanctuary, Without Sanctuary, the book that showed clearly countless number of black people in this country, Africans in this country, America, being lynched, being strung up on trees and having their lives taken away from them, and they were dressed in suits.
Or in army or military uniform.
Yes.
Bars.
I said every verse is dedicated to my day ones, who always kept it G and never changed up. The big homies who's the reason why we came up, and they taught us game and ain't let this town change us. I can't forget my Brody Keys, homie caged up. We make you move so that when you home, you A1.
Really though, if you with a person that's hating on your dream, you gotta leave that motherfucker. Cause they ain't cool for you. They hating. They not right for you though. You got you some dreams, man. You better chase them dreams. If you ain't got no dreams, all you got is nightmares. Okay. Just keep it real. Just a little bit from me to you. Now with that being said, some dreams got expiration dates. before 1970 and you ain't never been in no rap video, you might want to stop rapping, nigga. That's for real. Quit playing, though. Quit playing, though. Go full-time at the job. Why is you playing?
Here's the thing about your movie, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Unity, heart. You're doing it.
Hi, this is Marva King, and I am here with the film review. That part, baby.
It's your boy B-Tim's Power 88. You know how it is. We're going down the world famous Bomb Squad. Right now, you're chilling with my man Crazy D, and you're checking out the film review. We got movies, music, culture, politics, and all types of society events going on right here on the film review.
What up? You know who it is. It's the infamous one, the infamous DJ Remix. And big ass shirt. But I'm going to represent for Lordland Films. That's how we do it. Lordland Films. I'm just saying. You have been warned.
What's up? This your man DJ Movie, the Party Rocker, representing Power 88 FM. And you are watching the film review.
Hey, what's up? This is Tori Russell, the founder and director of Broadway in the Hood. We love you all. Reach Broadway in the Hood at broadwayinthehood.org or 702-482-8777. You are watching and looking at the film review.
Crazy D, y'all. The legendary Crazy D. Crazy D is before his time. The musical digital man. And I want to say right now, what's up to Crazy D? Crazy D always one of my #1 supporters, man. A good man, good family man. Crazy D. Tell everybody where to follow you at right now. I want everybody to go follow Crazy D.
What up, Crayzon? Crazy D, the legendary Crazy D. What up, dog? Yo, Nipsey got some joints, man.
All right, people. This is Crazy D, and I'm standing here with, of course, Sharon from TC's Barbecue Crib. Go over here so you can see the sign real quick.
You know, we need a black television station because nobody is going to be there for us like we are. So come out and support. It's a free event from 6:30 to 9:30. It'll be live entertainment. You'll be able to receive information on the channel, how to get the channel, if you want to have content on the channel.
That's right. And remember, the event is free, but the food isn't. So come early and get a meal. See you tomorrow. TC's Barbecue Crib.
Hi, this is Bernadette Stammes, Thelma from Good Times, and you're watching the film review.
So she just left. Film review. It's a film review. Thought you knew.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rodney Smith with the film review.
This is another great episode of the film review. We are the husband and wife team. We are the husband and wife team. We are the husband and wife team. Stay tuned. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D. And this is the film review. Stay tuned. We got a lot to talk about. We are the husband and wife team that review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. This is the film review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
I'm Tracey.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. Sunday at 5:30 on Crayzon Deeyon page on Facebook. Live stream. The film review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. This is the film review. What's going on, people?
Hello.
How y'all doing? This is another great episode of the film review.
Yeah.
Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
I'm Tracey.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And do we have a great show for you today? But first, we have to sweep the floor and take the board. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So let's go through these different things first. First, as always, this show is brought to you by TC's Barbecue Crib.
Yes.
Located at 3655 South Durango in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah.
It is a tourist attraction. It is a family environment.
Food is delicious.
And if you want great food, that's what I was just about to say. You stop there, you get the turkey burger. I just finished having a turkey burger. Myself and Franklin G from Like It Is Radio went over there and had lunch right after the radio show. And I had a turkey burger, and it was delish, you know. But if you want ribs, you want beef ribs, pork ribs, chicken, barbecue, anything, and then the catfish on Catfish Fridays. And don't forget 2 for Tuesdays where you pick one item and you get another item. You know what I mean? So, and also, before we go any further, we definitely have to say that if you haven't seen this, people, this is the film review period article. You can go around. It's in the lobby of KCEP Power 88. It's also in the lobby of TC's Barbecue Crib. You'll see the posters all over the city. You go pick one up. You use this scanner right here. When you go in, they scan the phone and you get a discount on one full meal at TC's Barbecue Crib. Also on the back, it shows you how you can use the instructions and actually watch us globally in your city, your town. You're in Atlanta, no problem. Follow these instructions. You're in New York, no problem. Follow these instructions. Mississippi, follow these instructions. You'll be able to see us live right there on your smart TV and your Roku devices. So as we keep on moving on, and as we clear the, as we sweep the floor and run the table, that's what I was talking about. Now, you know, Marianne Williamson and a lot of the other presidential candidates are in town, right? But you know, we interviewed her first right here. Rodney Smith from Our Voices, from Our Own Voices, interviewed her as a guest interviewer on the Film Review On the Road Politics show.
And that was months ago.
And that was in June. June 2019. We were ahead of the game. First, she was on Franklin G's Like It Is on KCEP Power 88, streamed by yours truly on Crayzon Deeyon page, and also on Lordland Films. But she was there, and then afterwards we did an interview with Rodney Smith being the guest host. And let me tell you, it's something about being able to present to the candidates that come into town the same type of quality that they will get from network. That's right. We want crystal clear picture with crystal clear sound that's right there so they can get their point across. They should definitely come through, speak to Rodney Smith, or contact us, you know what I'm saying, 702-793-7757, 702-793-7757. Text us, because that's the way that I get your message and make sure that I have your message, because sometimes the recording of leaving a voice message sometimes it gets fugazi. But if you text me, then we're there. We'll get you on 2 different shows. You know what I mean? So the different candidates should come through. And the reason why we push, we do not endorse candidates here, but we sure do when they come to town and when they're on the debate stage. We definitely make sure that we put them up so that you know that you can hear them unadulterated, uninterrupted, with the interview styles of Franklin G and Rodney Smith. So shout out to that. You know what I mean? So, you know, she actually showed up and came in. If you don't want to be on the Film Review, politics, talk show, then we don't know what you want to be. You don't want to be on Like It Is Radio, then what are you doing? Because, you know, every place else is okay, but I bet you every place else is kind of dusty and you won't get your point across. Okay, so here we go with this.
Hey,
right
Janine.
here. Wait a minute. Something did not finalize here. I'm trying to see. There it is. It took a second.
Okay.
But the Film Review Music Review Show Episode 4 is playing now on Vimeo.com/showcase Crazy D. That's it right there. Let me bring it in so it's in focus so you can see it. Vimeo.com/showcase by Crazy D. That's Vimeo.com/showcase by Crazy D. You go there, you can watch all the various shows that we do. You know, we do original programming. You know, using other people's programming to say that you have a channel is whack. I mean, I'm just going to tell you. But we do original programming, and we put it up, and you can go there and watch it. And the music review show where we spotlight music that we would love to hear in independent film and Hollywood movies. That is definitely the hit there. And we also have Smooth Sizzle, that's Craig Knight. We have the official interview on there, a segment. And then we also have the full interview running up on that site right there.
The single is really nice.
Yeah, the single is there. Staying in my lane. That's right.
With the video also, you can check out.
And also, as we talk about all of the different volumes of the film review, we definitely have to go here and say this, that, you know, not only is there part 4, but there's part 1, part 2, part 3, and then again there is the film review periodical. You know, we come out periodically because, you know, print was a 17th century invention, and now we're in the digital age, so you can see us on lordlandfilms.com. All right, so now that we have swept the floor and ran the table, it is now time for what we came here for. Say 1, 2, 3, 4. What did we come here for?
Oh, and happy birthday to James Baldwin. Shanine,
James Baldwin.
Shanine had it posted today on Instagram.
Thank
you,
Shanine,
right.
James
for posting
Baldwin.
it.
That's right. Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes.
Fast and Furious presents. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, does the Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw stand up to the previous films in the franchise?
Right.
Or does it fail miserably? So we're going to go through that, and our topic for tonight deals with relationship, and is it necessary to like a person to be able to get business work done, completed, to come out with a great outcome? Is it necessary for us to like people just to for that to happen? That's the question for tonight. All right. So now, as we get started, what can we say about the Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw?
Well, you know what? It did it justice. I feel like it did Fast and Furious justice.
Did it?
It was right on point.
Well, let's go through it and see here.
From beginning to end, it did not disappoint.
Let's go through it, and then we'll be able to determine if
Who was this? Was
it.
Idris Elba the star?
I don't know. We're gonna go through the list. He was at least the.
I think Idris star of the film.
Okay.
I believe
that's what you were saying. Okay. So listen.
Great film.
So listen. You know. So where do we want to start here? Let's start with the cast. First of all, the director is David Leitch. Okay. David Leitch is the director, and let me tell you, he does his thing on this piece right here. He really brings a great movement, the next movement in the franchise, and we're gonna break it down, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna break it down to you because we here make sure that you are able to watch our reviews so that you won't have to waste your money on things that be that great, right? We don't want you to waste your money, so that's why we're here. Okay.
Yes.
So David Leitch is the director. Of course, you know Dwayne Johnson is Luke Hobbs.
Right. And Dwayne Johnson as well as Jason Statham, they're also executive producers of the film.
Jason Statham plays Deckard Shaw.
Yeah.
And then Idris Elba plays Brexton Lore.
Yes, the villain.
The villain.
Right.
Vanessa Kirby plays Hattie Shaw.
Yes.
And then there's a cameo appearance by Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
Who plays Magdalene Shaw.
Yes.
Right? And then, of course, so we're going to go through it, right? There are some special guest cameos that we're not going to spoil it for you because we want you to go see the film.
And we
right?
can't forget Cliff Curtis plays Jonah. So he's a veteran actor.
That's right, right. He plays Jonah.
Yeah.
He plays Jonah Hobbs.
Yes.
Which is the brother. You've seen that in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler, right? Okay, so let's go through this. The world of Hobbs and Shaw opens introducing Shaw's sister, Hattie, played by Vanessa Kirby.
Right.
And Brexton Lore, which is Idris, who is the villain, right? So that's the first thing that opens up, and from the opening salvo of the film, there is action, right?
Yeah.
So then you're reintroduced to Hobbs and his daughter, and you find out that Shaw has a mother, and you're introduced to Helen Mirren as the mother, right?
Right.
This places a couple of new wrinkles within the Fast and Furious world. This Hobbs and Shaw world that they're building, where you're going to see new allies. It's definitely the hero's journey, and it picks up fast with action, and it moves, and it introduces you to. It flips the hero's journey around because you're introduced to people who will be their allies in the front. Namely, his sister.
Yes.
And then you're introduced to them. So let's keep going. Once Hobbs and Shaw meet up for the first time,
which is great,
in H&S.
Right.
Like the trailer, the laughter and the action begins between the two. I mean, they are ribbing, and this is just some of the most hilarious dialogue that you will ever see.
Yes.
You will be laughing your butt off through the whole presentation, all the way throughout the film. It is laughter filled, action packed. It doesn't let down one bit. It moves. It moves. It moves.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
Right.
It does.
And when the first fight scenes between half man, half machine, Idris Elba's character Brexton, and Hobbs, Dwayne, and Shaw, Statham, the action never slows down, and you're pushed back into your seats, or either you're on the edge of your seat, but either way, you are entertained. You are entertained by this film. This is a great film. You will be entertained.
What would be amazing is if it was in 3D, because like you're sitting there, you're watching a film, and you find yourself kind of like moving a little because it seems like the some of the stuff is coming at you, some of the equipment, some of the vehicles, some of the like the explosions. I mean, just well done, beautifully done. So I was saying to you in the theater, I was like, oh my gosh, this would be amazing if it's in 3D, because people are already in their seats moving around, you know. So it was well done.
Well done. Now, where was I? I want to make sure. Okay. There is no doldrums in this film. There is no slowdown. The pacing on the film is very important in action film, because sometimes you get to the recycle where it has to. You've gotten through the first half of the film, and then they have to go through building up the weapons. Then you usually go into like a doldrum type of thing. No doldrums here. It kicks off, and you want to know why. You want to know why. The CGI pushes to a new level of high. Mixing live action sets and props with CGI animated magic. It is nothing. It is seamless. You wouldn't be able to notice. It is believable.
It is.
You know, it's very believable, right? The slow motion within the action sequences is well placed. I mean, you can't place slow motion framing any better than it. It's a scene where the first big chase happens, and Idris's character is in pursuit.
Black Superman.
That's what they say, Black Superman. The Brexton character is in pursuit, and it's something that happens. I mean, the slow action, the slow motion is just it was
amazing.
Incredible.
Those fight scenes.
The fight scene.
You have to go to the theater. We're not going to say it, but there's this one fight scene. It's crazy.
You have to watch this. I mean, it's so many build up. It's so much different. We're going to get to does it measure up to the other Fast Furious and why or why not in a second. It's a great movie, but does it measure up or does it fail miserably to the others? We're going to get to that in a second.
If you watch Ray Donovan, it was good to see Eddie Marson.
That's right.
He's also in the film.
Yeah, he plays a scientist.
Yes.
Now, if you don't know who Eddie Marson is, he's Ray Donovan's brother in there. He runs a gymnasium, a boxing gym. Yeah. And he has the shakes, I'll say.
Yeah, he has
Parkinson's. Yeah, that's what I say. He has Parkinson's, and they go through a whole thing where he has something implanted where it stops it, and he somehow ruins it. But you have to go back and watch those episodes of Ray Donovan. It's a great film. He's a likable character in everything that he plays, even if he plays a villain. So we'll say that. Now, there's drama, comedy, Afromance. That is quality acting chops to pull off, right? Within the action, right? The reason why the film doesn't slow down is because just when you think you've got enough of the comedy, dramatic acting, comes into play. Reconciliation is in the film. Anger is in the film. Romance or Afromance.
The importance of family also.
The importance of family.
Friendships.
And being able to work through, even though you may not like each other, which that is the topic for the night. So that is why there is no doldrums in the film, because the way that it's edited,
well done.
They bring in the drama when it needs to be there.
Right.
The comic relief when it needs to be there. There's a scene on the plane. You're gonna love it. Yeah. It's a shocker. Yeah. Because everybody just went crazy. But it's a scene on the plane when Hobbs and Shaw are arguing.
Yeah.
Right?
So you'll see that.
You'll see that. But and let me tell you, let me give thumbs up to the MUAs, because this did not just rely on CGI. Remember, I said it was a amalgamation of CGI and live action, and the MUAs to make to create the look of Braxton's cyber infused back, using with the CGI, moving with it. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just an amazing piece of work right there, right? So what sets this particular version of Fast and Furious apart is there is the rest of the team, the squad is out, Tyrese is out, Ludacris is out, Vin Diesel is out, old girl that hates black superheroes, she's out. Everyone is out except for these two, and then they introduce a new world where they introduce to new allies that will be in the next films, right? And so that's what sets it apart. But what also sets it apart is it's more of a spy type thriller type of thing, like law enforcement, spy. Like the Fast and Furious kind of had that in it, but this is more centered around more of a James Bondish type thing, where you're introduced to weapons and using weapons, or using even classical weapons to get the point across, to get the victory, so to speak. So that right there is what sets it apart. And the action sequences in it, the car movement, whereas Fast and Furious, or the Fast and Furious at one time, was based on car racing.
Yeah.
And then the underbelly, the pale underbelly of life there is introduced in, and that's how then the detective and the police, law enforcement is then introduced in. But this right here again is a spy type thriller, law enforcement, less on the law enforcement, more action spy thriller, right? With romance and drama thrown in a nicely constructed gumbo by the director, right? So did I cover everything? Let me make sure that I covered everything.
You know, and the Samoa is really beautiful, like nice, and the scenery.
Oh yeah. The cinematography
is
just
beautiful,
on point. Did I leave the cinematographers out? Not only did they have to capture the angles to make the CGI work, they also caught beautiful landscapes.
Beautiful.
The water is just so blue-green
Yeah.
in this production, right?
So I'm looking forward to part 2?
Part 2.
And then I'm looking forward to the next Fast and Furious also, because they're all family, like one big, family. So this is a huge success.
We do have to tell one person, because they're going to be an ally too. But did you know that
hey Kenneth.
Hey, what's going on, Kenneth? Thanks for chiming in. Shanine for chiming in.
Okay, don't tell who the other person is.
No, we're not going to tell that person, because that happens on the airplane.
Don't tell the other one.
We got to tell the other one, because he's a main character.
Yeah, but he wasn't in the trailer.
He wasn't in the trailer, but he's a main character, because it's
that
like,
was a good surprise.
Let me just make a hint to say that it's like I'm hearing that superhero. I can't think of that superhero's name with the caustic mouth.
Okay,
but it's like I'm hearing him in the film. All right, people. So we just ran through this film, right?
Yeah.
So look,
great film.
The cinematography, 10.
Yes.
The CGI mixed with live action, 10. The plot and the storyline does not fade. That's a 10. The bantering between the two main characters in the film, priceless. Will have you rolling in between the action. You will be rolling, you'll be pressed in your seat, on the edge of your seat, laughing, tripping out, going, you might even shed a tear, right? And so everything is constructed into this gumbo. So before I get to my rating, what would you rate it?
I would definitely give it a 10. I mean, great film. I remember when they showed the trailer like months ago, and I said, oh, okay. So the opening trailer with Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. I'm like, okay, it looks interesting. And then they showed Idris Elba. I said, oh, I'm going to see the film. And it was not a disappointment. And so it's just like, so you're rooting for Dwayne Johnson. I almost said The Rock. Same thing. Right?
No, well, well,
anyway,
he left wrestling. So I guess he had to leave that. So you're rooting for Dwayne Johnson as well as Jason Statham. Right.
But then I found myself rooting for Idris Elba too, the villain. So I'm just like, because the villain is like likable and his lines are kickers. His humor is just off the chain. Some of the stuff that he says as a villain is just crazy. So, I mean, it's just the people in the audience were like, you can tell they were like torn too, because you had people in the audience rooting for the villain. But then they were also rooting for Jason Statham and Dwayne Johnson. So they did a really good job. I mean, because when you can't, when you're rooting for both sides, that's pretty good.
Idris Elba was on, what is that woman from New York? What's her name?
Angie Martinez.
Angie Martinez. She was on there, and he actually So you can hear that. Go to YouTube and hear that interview after you finish watching us.
Yeah.
But so he was on there, and he calls Dwayne on the Facebook.
Oh yeah.
On the Facebook Live, Skype, right? And he, Dwayne Johnson talks about how, well, first Angie Martinez says to Dwayne that, you know, Idris doesn't think of himself as a movie star, as an international movie star, and Dwayne was like, well, that's just, you know, Idris being humble, right? But he picked him because he knew that he would be the perfect villain that he could rise to the occasion, and his acting in this is his acting is not over the top.
No.
It's subtle.
Just right.
It's subtle. His meanness is not over the top.
It seems natural.
He's created a vehicle, possibly a character for himself to move forward, because his villainry, the way he delivers it, is subtle, and it makes you look at him. Even before the effects come up, you look at him and you say, this guy is kind of, you know, he's a little worse than Magneto in the X-Men, you know, because Magneto, he's kind of subtle in what he does. The only time he's not subtle is when he's moving things, but he's kind of subtle in his talking. Idris Elba raises to Marvel, even though this is not a Marvel film, he raises to the great Marvel film acting, right, in this, right?
Yep.
So we have to say that, and I have to say that, right?
Yeah.
But Angie Martinez hit another point, and we would be remiss if we didn't. What's up to Michael Elliott? He chimed in.
Hey,
Kenneth
Michael.
Dorsey again. Loren Jordan, she chimed in. Shanique
Loren.
Hicks. Adrian.
Hey, Adrian.
Scott chimed in. We want to say what's going on with him. Listen, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about this, and it's very important. She talked about some. Angie Martinez spoke on something about what Samuel L. Jackson had said about, you know, African actors coming to the States, you know, and taking Black American actors' jobs, right? Instead of you know, acting in their place, fighting for their place. And so for those who don't know, this is a politic going on between ADOS, American descendants of slaves, and immigrant Black people who are coming over here to this country, who are profiting from off of the so-called quote-unquote set-asides that was supposed to be set aside for ADOS, who are supposed to be in a protected class because of what happened during the Middle Passage, after the Middle Passage, slavery, and then Jim Crow. What was supposed to be set aside, and they come in and they partake in it, and they come here and they see what would be called projects that are brick and mortar, and they say, we come from shanty shacks, and what are you complaining about? There is no racism because there's no shanty shacks. Bottom line, I'm simplifying it, but that's pretty much, you know, the way it is. What's going on, LeBlack? Thanks for chiming in.
Hey, LeBlack.
But so this is an argument going. This is a debate going on, and like in our review a couple of weeks back, we talked about Spike Lee. She's got to have a season 2, and she goes to artist resort for painters, and she meets up with a African immigrant to America, and they have this discussion, and that's why I said Spike Lee had his fingers on the pulse of what was going on. It was very intricate, you know, while they were going in. But anyway, so go watch that. So that kind of will give you some context if you're not already checking out the different banter that's going on the different programming that's happening on YouTube with people, right? So she asked him about that, and he says, well, he thought that was pretty, didn't he say like ignorant?
Yeah.
At first he said that's pretty ignorant.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know why why Samuel L., who everybody looks up to, would say that, because he said he called him, and then Samuel L. Jackson took into perspective what he said, and he said he might change his views on that, right? But here's what Angie Martinez, who, again, she is not black, she is not ADOS, she is not African, though there's some African in her, because you know there's African in everybody, or not African, because African was named after another dude that was white, that was European. He named the whole continent, but it's not actually named something else. But anyway, look, now let's just take it for it. So people, they got black in them because everybody starts from black soil, actually, before the mutation. But anyway, look.
Yeah, but that's not the box everybody checks off.
That's not the box everybody checks off. So she is Hispanic, which is not a nationality or culture, but a designation. So she's Latina, right? So why she would delve into this conversation between black people, it's questionable, because you don't fill in the full context. So, but we here at the Film Review are going to fill in the full context of it, right? So,
well, first, you know, I want to say, as far as that, I was surprised. I know that during the interview she said that she's friends with Idris, but then I said, but still, you're also supposed to be a reporter also, right? So you're supposed to cover both sides. And that's what I love about, like, Wendy Williams. She's really big on that. She'll say, I'm friends, you know, she said, I try not to get too close with some of the celebrities. Some of them I'm pretty familiar with, you know, I may talk to them, but I let them know that my loyalty is in this purple chair, right? And as a reporter, as a journalist, right? Because Wendy Williams went to school for this. She's a journalist, right? So she'll give you both sides. But Angie Martinez, you know, she stated throughout the interview multiple times that she's friends with Idris Elba, which is fine. So she allowed him to give his point of view, but I felt it was in bad taste to not have Samuel Jackson's point of view, because he's a legend, and he deserved that respect.
Let's say that this is not. Let's just say that what we're getting ready to say is not Samuel L. Jackson's point of view.
Exactly.
His point of view was speaking on, which I can only go by what he said in the article, which was about African actors taking. Now there may be some things behind it, and this is where we're going right here. Okay, so look. What about those black actors who come from Africa, who come from by way of England or from by way of Africa, whichever country they come from in the continent, that are calling out, when you go to their social media pages like Twitter, they're calling out Akata. Now, for those who don't know what Akata means in one translation, a raw animal, and the other translation means cotton pickers, right? Akatas, right? Akatas, right? So when they're talking about Akatas, they're talking about black Americans, ADOS. So here are these actors who are coming in and acting in films, but yet on their social media pages, because they come here again and they see that there's not shanty shacks but brick and mortar, and they say there is no racism because look how they got you living in our country. We couldn't figure it out. First of all, they're running from their country, but we'll get to that in a minute. They say Akata, and they talk down on us, but they're taking all of the set-asides that were supposed to be set aside for us, because, you know, the politicians have a way of flipping game, because we're supposed to only be property, and they didn't know what to do with us, so they were begrudging giving us the rights that they gave us, so they found a way to flip it and give it to the immigrant, right? The only problem with them being black immigrants is once they become second and third generation here, or first, second, or third generation here, they start getting shot down the street and done too, right? So look, let's see who else chimed in. What's going on, Shonda? Thanks for chiming in. Let's see. Yeah, I went through all. Sandra. I'm looking at that. Sandra. Either way, tomato. Sandra. Thanks for chiming in. Yeah. So they're taking what is supposed to be set aside for us. So this is the argument, right? Here you are on your social media sites, like the young lady who's getting ready to play Harriet Tubman.
Okay.
Right? Now, the woman who directs Harriet Tubman also directed Eve's Bayou, right? And so you wonder why she would pick, but obviously the woman came in, right? And she must have somehow emoted across that she knew the struggle of Harriet Tubman. So the argument on one hand about actors needing to be who are black playing are heroes or are sheroes, that could or could not be valid, because acting is about transforming into something that you are not, to play that part, right? To put your energy and your spirit into that character and bring it to life while staying true to what that character would be. That's what acting is, right? So that could or could not be a valid point. However, if you're coming here and you're playing roles about our heroes and sheroes who are black, who fought this struggle, like Harriet Tubman, we shouldn't go onto your social media sites and see you talking about Okada or being friends with people and agreeing with them when they start talking about Okadas, who are black Americans, who the translation is raw animal or cotton pickers, which means that you're saying that you're looking down on what you're coming here to portray, when in actuality we run the culture around the world.
So that's the side that Angie Martinez should have presented also in the interview.
That's what she should have presented.
Right. Because that's where Samuel Jackson was.
What's going on to Catrice Thomas?
Hey, Catrice.
Miss Diva in the business. You know, we just celebrated the August 1st was the first year anniversary of Miss Diva comedy special that you can see on Vimeo. And you also can go to YouTube, type in Miss Diva comedy topic, and she will come up and you can listen to the tracks and pick your favorite comedy and put it into a playlist to go along with your favorite playlist. You can go to iTunes. What we like is Tidal. You can go right to Tidal and you can stream it and you can laugh and go back to it. Make your playlist. Put her in your playlist, because that's what's happening. And you know, when Crazy D puts his stamp of approval on something, especially when I shoot it, edit it, and make the sound pop right to your face. And the picture is great, you know what I'm saying? So there it is. So Miss Diva Comedy, that was a quick plug, right? So look, so the main point is, so why these people are talking this, our people who are Pan-Africanists are ignoring this. And then we cannot ignore this, because this whole thing with the Igbo, right, which, you know, go research what I'm saying. Igbo, with all this with the Igbo and people looking down when they come here on a group of people who made it possible for them to even come here, right? So this is what the main argument is. So when Idris said what he said, she did not come with the rest. Which was the next question would have been, well, what do you say to your fellow African, English, or just straight African actors who call black Americans Okadas? Again, raw animal or cotton pickers. Raw animals that were out in the field cotton picking, right? What did you say about that? So that left a sour note, because he said then that's ignorant and he doesn't know why people would do that, and that leaves a sour taste. So at first it was like, what? Not Idris, because we knew about the other guy from Star Wars who runs around throughout the whole movie with his eyes bulging out asking where Sky is. I don't even know the character's name, but the female's character's name. But he's like, where's Sky? Where's Sky?
That's where Angie Martinez was supposed to, Idris gave his side, but she's supposed to be the reporter, whereas the interviewer was supposed to give the other side. So I just felt that was just a poor interview, and I just felt that wasn't her, because during the interview I'm like, why is she bringing it up? I mean,
why would she bring that up? Why did she let that die. Which once she brought that up, see, this is where
being messy.
We have to be careful about who we let into the conversation between black people, because this is a Pan-African, ADOS, Jamaican, Dominican Republic, Haitian, etc., black diaspora around the world conversation that we're having about how this is gonna actually go up when it happens, right? Shanine gave a thinking face. Catrice said, "Hey y'all, thank you so much. Crayzon D, the man. Thank you very much."
But just to say too, that's what I love about like Lupita, because she speaks up on issues in America, you know, that deals with black people in America, as well as she speaks about issues dealing with black people around the world. And Idris is also one that speaks up on black issues in America.
He was baited.
Right, but see I'm a little torn because the actress is playing Harriet Tubman because of the history of and the tweets of all of the negative stuff about black Americans. So it's not about just the actor being African. That part doesn't matter. It's what's being said. So the negativity that was being said about black Americans, and that's kind of leaving a bad taste in my mouth.
If you're conscious or not.
Right.
Because, you know, there's many of us who are not conscious. Right, who will, you know, sigh and say it's better to just get along. But when you find out that if you read through history, the people who got along usually got lynched. But anyway, that's another story.
And it's sad because she does, when I see her in just general films, like when Cynthia Erivo, right?
Yeah,
when
she was in the Elroy.
In the Elroy, she did like a great job.
Yeah, we gave her big kudos last year.
Yeah, she did a great job.
She did a great job.
And then, so that's why it's so disappointing to hear this stuff.
But who was she acting like, though? She was acting like a singer from the 1960s. That's when that was placed. Kind of like a Diana Ross or Martha Wilson. So she was acting like a singer from the 60s. But there's not many movies that can be seen where even the Jamaicans during the ska era, they had their sound of that electronic ting sound within the mix down of the songs. But when you listen to the original ska, it's borrowing from Motown, sound wise. So we are always the people who move the global culture along with what we release, if it be rap music, jazz, blues, So for people to come here and then try to look down, that is the issue, and that's why Angie Martinez should not have brought it up without bringing up both sides for him to have to defend
that was
his side, which then leads to now there's things over the internet where they say now Idris Elba faked being an American black to get on the wire.
That's what they're saying.
He didn't walk in with his accent, then go play the part. He walked in with an American accent and landed the role that he faked it. So now it opens up for there to be dissension with this man who has only shown strong blackness. Remember when they had that rumor where they was trying to make it seem like he talked down on black women, and he said he would never talk down on black women, and he's married to a black woman, right? You know, I don't know what nationality she is. But she's black, right? And but so he is strong black in his talk and his struggle, and to be pulled into that by someone who is
messy,
just being messy.
He should have went and sat down. If he was on Hot 97 with Ebro or
he should have stopped
the Breakfast Club or something.
He should have stopped, and though they were cool, he kind of let his guard down, which opens up that So which gets us to the next. Let's see what someone wrote here. Shani says, corporate puppet Angie causing division, learning a lot, wondered about the meaning of Akata. Pamela chimed in, what's going on? Franklin G just chimed in. All right, so that was a robust discussion, and we'd like to thank all the people who are chiming in and watching us today, which leads us to our next topic, because like we said, Angie Martinez, our topic for tonight, Angie Martinez
We have another
is
film.
I know. Angie Martinez is supposed to be a friend of Idris, right? But with friends like those who will pull you into some junk, who needs enemies, right? So, in Hobbs and Shaw, these two men couldn't stand each other, but they got together to
Get the job done.
again save the world, as they say, and
Right.
that's in the trailer too. But you know that they always save the world. Whatever it is, it's always some kind of toxic something. You got to save the world with it. Now, so the topic for tonight is: do you have to like a person to work together to get business done? Do you have to like a person to work together to get business done, to work it out, to make it happen? What's going on to Austin? Thanks for chiming in. Do you have to like a person to get the job done? You can either type in your responses and we'll read them, or you can feel free to call up at 213-943-3358. That's 213-943-3358. Make sure that what you are listening to us in, you turn it down, and you can listen to yourself on the replay, because we are on a delay. Right? So 213-943-3358, or feel free to write in your responses and we will read them right over the air. We love your participation.
Well, you know what? Since this is the film review, and speaking of, what are the two actresses' names? Is it Joan Crawford and
Joan Crawford.
Is it Betty Davis?
And Betty Davis.
And they did not like each other, right?
They came together for,
and they came together for
Whatever Happened to Baby Jane,
which is a classic. And they hated each other, and it was a lot of drama on and offset with that, right? And they came together, and they were able to work together, and they.
Okay, Austin Sims. You know, Austin Sims is a Code MC. As a matter of fact, we got the a semi piece of the Bars Up, but Bars is coming, and a whole piece on Cleveland. When we went back to Cleveland, is coming on the film review. So look out for that. But Austin says, nope, you don't have to like the person.
Right, that's true.
No, you do not. Catrice says.
Yeah.
Shanice says, from personal experience, no. Austin said, you don't even need to be in the same building. That's interesting. Catrice said, focus on the bag, not the person.
Yeah.
Austin Sims sent Forrest Gump waving, saying, hey, that's what I'm talking about. And then Austin said, 100 with prayer hands. Listen, thank y'all for your responses. Now look, do you have to like a person? I've seen so far. We've said no. That must be an evolving of black people. You know what I'm saying? Of people,
because
right?
other groups
because usually black people usually are worried about being liked, right? That's what's going on in the politics. Usually the politician comes, they come to the church, they do a little jig, they sing the song, they kiss some black babies, they eat some fried chicken, and they say, we one of us, we play the saxophone. You're the first black president, Clinton. And Clinton turned around and signed the 3 strikes bill, which put 100,000 more police on the street, and basically in the 90s decimated the black community. But he was our friend because he liked us. I don't necessarily care about being liked, but I do care that the agenda that I want to be done for the betterment of my people is executed. I don't care about you dancing, playing the saxophone, or doing the Dougie, or whatever,
or if you have hot sauce in your purse.
Yeah, we don't care about any of that. What we care about is the job getting done, right? Liking a person is important, That's what's got us in the state we're in. Most of the time, you start liking the politician, and then the politician, in the end, they're the same old politician. Let's put it this way, people. Just to, Catrice said, okay. And then Catrice said, say that, Austin. Just look at this for a minute. Okay. This is what gets us into this situation, which has gotten us in this situation. If we know that at the time when the Bill of Rights and the Constitution was written, that we were considered 3/5 of a human being, and in the Constitution still today, we are considered 3/5 of a human being. That was never amended. You got the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, but never in none of those amendments that they say you are full, you will be given rights as a citizen, but they didn't say that you are a full human being. And this is the issue. So what you know about the European from studying, because we were taught were European studies, basically. If it's European history to American history, it's European, right? What we know from them is what is written on paper is what goes, right? And most people say, well, of course I'm a human being, you know what I'm saying? They can't tell me that, and that's why I believe that the CBC, just on plain on humanistic reasons, don't want to touch it, because then they would have to admit that we are still considered 3/5 of a human being by the Constitution, right? And we were granted citizenship, but not full human rights, and that's what Malcolm was talking about, right? So when you understand, when you have an understanding and an overstanding of that, you'll say that no matter who gets into the White House, what's on that paper that has not been amended is what will happen to you as a ADOS, or if you want to just call yourself Black American or original Black people here, because some natives, not the ones that came across the Bering Strait that were Asians, but actual Indians who came across the land bridges when it was ice and came and migrated into America before and settled America before Christopher Columbus never made it. You on paper are considered to be 3/5 of a human being, and because that is so, and you are only granted citizenship, and they're trying to erode your citizenship away, when other people as minorities, when they're eroding your rights away and moving it over to immigrants, when they erode that away, and you're still just 3/5 of a human being on paper, that's how they treat you, no matter who is elected president of the United States, unless they get up there explicitly and tackle that. 3/5 of a human being is what still stands today. Barbara Jordan told you about that in 1974. Did you get the memo from 1974? So when we get down to the get down of what's really happening, the only way that we're going to be able to stand up is our CBC is going to have to not only talk about citizenship, because they're over there helping the immigrant. Old girl who held the HR 40 bill about reparations, she was over in Ghana. Like, what does Ghana, other than that was where the slaves came through, what does Ghana have anything to do other than to pay reparations? See, it gets even deeper, because once you realize that there were African slave holders and traders who sold to the various Europeans, right? They have to pay too. And if you say they don't have money, well, we won't be going over there so much as Pan-Africanists as we will be going back over there to say, well, kind of like the Chinese or any other colonizer, this is ours, 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 this is ours. But people think that's too harsh. But in actuality, you have to read some of these articles.
Yeah, go to ados.com.
When you read some of these articles, you'll be like, they left that out. But I remember Chuck D in one of the Public Enemy records, Can't Trust It, he said, because me and the Big Chief had big beef, we can't trust it. Meaning now he was sold off, and that's what it is. So here we are. And he told it in rhyme form, right? Austin said, in 9 to 5 office type of setting, I'm more I'm sure more people don't like 60% of their co-workers. That's a key reason why it pays to have your own business and link with like-minded people whose company you would enjoy. There we go. And then Catrice said right, and Shanine said right. So this is what's actually really happening here. As long as that 3/5, and you know, I discovered this way back in my research in the 90s. It was 89, 90, right? Because I graduated from Catholic school, which was a predominantly Polish Catholic school. All my life before then, before I went to the 9th grade there, because we had junior high schools, not middle schools. And then you went to high school in the 9th grade, right? Yeah. It used to be the 10th, but then they moved the 9th up. And that's what caused the whole conundrum, right? Yeah. When I went there, I said, something is wrong. Something is wrong with the way that these people are acting. It's like you're supposed to be Catholic, you're supposed to be Christian, right? You're supposed to be the first church that, you know, after Christ that came up before Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, but Martin Luther broke away and produced the Protestant. Everything outside of Catholicism, Baptist, Methodist, all that are Protestant religions, meaning that they're based on not just faith but works. You have to have work and faith, whereas the Catholic Church mostly based on faith. Long time studying it. But when I was there, I said something is wrong with the way these people are acting. Like they act strange. They act like aliens. Like when they see you, they act like aliens, right? And so I was like, something. So I was doing papers, and you know me, I come from, it was just in me already to stand up. I don't know what it was, but I was questioning this, and I was writing it in my social studies papers. Well, they weren't social studies, it was history class then. And I was writing it in the English class, I was writing it. And then in history class, we had an assignment where we had to do something, either turn a videotape or an essay. And I got my next door neighbor, he had a video camera at the time. I wasn't into the video yet. Boy, if I was in the video then, boy, what I'd be doing now. But anyway, so we sat down and we did that, and I got an A on the presentation, but we sat there and we laid out the concerns, and it opened up their eyes. But what you find out as you go along, it doesn't matter if you open up their eyes or not, because there's one reason why racism will always exist. And that's because, well, anyway, we'll get to that. That's another discussion for another time. But then my sophomore year, I went up to Warrensville Heights Library. It's no longer there. They have a new library there, but it was a librarian. She was a black woman. She was a thick black woman sitting there, right? Kind of almost like wheelchair bound, almost. But she had a whole line of tapes, and I was doing a research paper on the Huff Rebellion, not Huff Riots as they called it, but the Huff Rebellion. And I got an A on that paper. Then we came up with something. Then there was another assignment, and you know I stayed black, right? Because I'm learning, expanding. At the same time, they had who just passed, the comedian. What's his name? He had the nigga book. Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory. They had books set up there, and I just happened to grab one. I said, "Who's this guy?" Because you know, as history goes along, or as popular culture moves along, it popularly moves people out the way so that you can't remember, right?
You met Dick Gregory.
Yeah, I met Dick Gregory. But they move them along so that you properly cannot remember them. Right. So I picked up the book. I said, "Who's this Dick Gregory guy?" And he's got this book called Nigger, and there's like 52 of them sitting up there on the on the heater by the windowsill. And I thumbed through it, and one of them, there's a picture of him because he was in band and he played the big bass drum. And along there, some white devil wrote, "Go back to the fatherland." That's what they wrote on there. "Go back to the fatherland, nigger." Right? So I'm like, so I found one that was clean, and now I'm taking this book. I'm going to read it. And that book opened my eyes. Dick Gregory laying it out in a book, and then I started learning more about him and learning about satire. And then as we came up he came back into the forefront in the 90s at Tavis Smiley's State of the Black Union. He would be there every year. So all this was opening up. Like this time right now in 2019 is starting to open people's eyes back up again. It goes through cycles. And now we came back through the decadent cycle, and now we're coming through the enlightenment cycle again. So then I was at the library and I was doing a paper, and she said, well, have you ever heard Louis Farrakhan? Because I told her what my concern was, where I was going to school at. She said, well, have you ever heard Louis Farrakhan? I said, no, I didn't. So I took the videotape home and I popped it in, and Farrakhan was talking exactly, and this was something that was known back in the 30s, back in the 10s, back in the 18s, this knowledge that was coming through. So when he's bringing it to me in 1987, 88, I'm like, this is what I was thinking, and here it is right here on the tape, why they are doing what they are doing. Right? And so that is really what it is, and when you find out why they do what they do, you will know that racism will never end because they are in fear of a black planet. And that's what we'll say there. Let's see what some people had to say here. Shanice said, right, we're monkeys to some of these bastards. This is Austin. We're monkeys to some of these bastards. They don't even see that 3/5, let alone acknowledge us as a whole human being. Racism, like sin, will sadly always exist. My mom loved Dick Gregory, that's Shanine. Growing up in Detroit, I never heard about Dick Gregory comedy until I got older. My comedy came from Richard Pryor, Catrice Thomas, and you know who was a big supporter of Richard Pryor? Because Richard Pryor, outside of just calling the N-word, he was putting through the truth. Dick Gregory was a big supporter of Richard. Big supporter of Richard. He supported Richard to say what he wanted to say because he knew Richard had something to say. When you step up on these platforms, you got to have something to say. Right? And if you don't have something to say, then you might just, if I see a black person, because this is an intra race, there's only one race, but since they broke it down in this fictitious stuff, let's take it, this is an intra-racial discussion between black people of the black diaspora around the planet. If you don't seem to have anything to say, then you might just be an immigrant that came here and came from shanty shacks and said, what are you complaining about? They gave you subsidized housing, it's brick and mortar, no mud, right? All I can say is poverty is poverty. It doesn't matter what it looks like. When you have to pull your belt because there's nothing there, you don't even have mayonnaise and bread, you don't have water and bread. When you got to pull your belt tight, poverty is poverty. It doesn't matter if you come out the house and you look at a nice mall and you're in subsidized housing that you can't go shop at the mall, or if you come out of a shanty shack and you see nothing but dirt roads and mud when it's raining. Poverty is poverty.
Or being murdered or beat upside your head just because of the color of your skin.
And so to come here and call us Akatas, right? But we're the ones who fought so that you could come over, right? And if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be over here, right? And for you to say that,
there's a lot of sacrifices. Civil rights, just a lot.
And for you to
people
say
who have family members in Alabama, in Mississippi, and New Orleans, and the Carolinas, who had to deal with a lot, and still to this day, to open up the doors for everyone to have access to this country.
Shanice said, I got introduced to him at a young age, talking about Dick Gregory. And Shanice said, yep, Richard Pryor, Dick Gregory, and Paul Mooney is another one. Paul Mooney is going through something. Paul Mooney used to talk all of that and then get up on stage, and then he would have the baristas bringing him bringing him
water
liquor
or anything.
Liquor. It looked like liquor. It looked brown, but he had them bringing it to him, and I'm like, they could have easily slipped something because his mind, and we need his satire today more than ever. Divas Comedy True Stories. I can't make this up. Laughing out loud, laughing out loud. Now listen. So now, can you work with people that you don't like to get the business done? In this case, the answer is yes. Which I'm saying that's an evolving, because usually you have to feel like you're being liked to get done. But you see, when you go to work, you see people who would probably want to lynch you. You working right alongside them and to get the job done. Then afterwards, you don't go over their house and they don't come over yours. That's cool, but you get the job done. The main point in this Hobbs and Shaw story is how they work together again to save the world. And so we covered a lot of information there. So we want y'all to go out and research that and read that and figure it out. But most definitely we have to start to work together, and that akata, it won't be wiped out the lexicon anytime soon, but you can stop using it. You know what I mean? You can stop using it, to talk about a group of people who got you here. Right. So now, moving on. As we talk, let me see, make sure I got everything there. That was the topic. Now, we have a new show to talk about real quick before we sign off.
Yeah, for you to check out.
Yeah. It's a new show, and it's coming on.
It's on Showtime.
It's on Showtime.
The Loudest Voice.
The Loudest Voice.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes I wonder when people watch these shows. Catrice said, yes, indeed. Michael Elliott rejoined. You want to say what's up with him? When people watch these shows, I wonder if they realize that they were duped into doing what they were doing, and do they care? Do they care that they were duped into doing what they were doing?
Oh, that interview you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about just what Cheney, and not Cheney. He's worse than Cheney.
Oh, okay. So on the Loudest Voice.
Loudest Voice. Right.
Roger Ailes.
Do they care?
Starring Russell Crowe.
Do they care that they were duped?
So that show is interesting. So on Showtime, just check it out. Some of the stuff that comes out this man's mouth. He's the creator of Fox.
Yeah, Fox Network. Right.
Yeah.
Rupert Murdoch, who is the
owner,
who is a foreigner.
Yeah.
Owns the station.
Right.
But he puts him in place to the day-to-day operation.
Yes.
And he forms this Fox network to be a conservative network, right?
And you see the behind the scenes of what's going on at Fox, and it breaks it down like each episode.
But you find out that
years
most
each year, and we know what their views were about President Obama, so you learn a little bit more about that.
What's funny is you find out that most of the things that he did were to profit himself by what this story is telling,
you learn a lot. You see how he treat his own employees at Fox, and the behind the scenes, like the huge mess.
And we're not going to go in there because you can beat a dead horse about that. We know what's going on, but let's just say that I wonder how people feel as
he manipulated a lot of people. So it's interesting to see
as they begin to lose their homes, as they didn't want to listen to President Obama and retrain because we were going into IT and tech and solar instead of still trying to go on the ground and mine. They want to still frack. And that's another thing. When people frack, if you're moving everybody off the land, who's going to buy your product? I just don't understand. But that's for a whole nother story. Let's go through the cast real quick.
The cast is starring Russell Crowe, Naomi Watts, Sienna Miller, and Seth MacFarlane. So they're the main
Fox
cast.
gang, right?
And it's quite interesting. And how we learned about this is Melissa Ford was talking about it on her show Hollywood Unlocked. And she was not wrong. She said this man, the stuff that comes out of his mouth is just Woo, Fox News. Woo.
So,
behind the scenes, and what kills me, no, is these are the same people who like to use the terminology thugs and ghetto and this and that, and they are like the worst.
They're treacherous.
But some of the stuff that come out of their mouth and what they do and how they live. Are you kidding me?
We've hit that. We've hit that. That knowledge before is what's important. Right. To get through that, to get and relieve ourselves of the 3/5 of a human being. Right. But people, make sure that you go on to, let me see if I get this in focus. Make sure that you join some of these pages here. Let me get closer. Crazy D Film Dude on IG. Make sure that you follow that. Crazy D Film Dude on IG. And Film Girl #4 Life. That's Tracey. Make sure that you follow that. Make sure that you check us out again on Vimeo. Vimeo.com/showcase by Crazy D. You can also see us globally by following these instructions on your smart TV and smart TV and Roku devices. You can see us in your country tonight. You can watch all of our programming. We do original programming because using other people's property, which first is illegal, but using other people's property to say that you have a channel is whacker than whack. And to the different politicians that is coming to the city, if you haven't come past the Film Review News or Like It Is Radio to sit down and talk, I don't know what you're doing, because we come crystal clear even when we're streaming. So now, people, this has been
the sound. You forgot about the excellent sound.
Oh yeah, well, the sound quality, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to thank Catrice. I see the thumbs up. So as we close, we like to say this has been another robust episode of the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We have enjoyed speaking with you and bringing the show to you tonight. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
Tracey.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And we are out until next Sunday, the Film Review. This is another great episode of the Film Review. We are the husband and wife team. We are the husband and wife team. We are the husband and wife team. Stay tuned. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D. And this is the Film Review. Stay tuned. We got a lot to talk about. We are the husband and wife team that review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. This is the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
Tracey.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. Sunday at 5:30 on Crayzon Deeyon page on Facebook. Live stream. The Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. This is the Film Review.